Okay, so now it is September 6th, 2022. Do you see what I've done? I had to get a rack. Well, because I can't really do those microgreens outside. One, winter is coming. And two, I'm just not in the mood to have people come and steal my shit in terms of the potato thief. Right? So I figured I took out with Andre a little unit that I had here and whatnot. Right now I'm just going through my pots and pans. Right, because I put some jars of dehydrated food on the bottom, right? So, but I told Andre he's learning how to cook, so I got some nice pots. So I'm going to save them for teach them how to cook. I'm just sorting them out right now, trying to figure out where I'm going to put them. So in the meantime, these tomato plants that are growing in the greenhouse, they're actually coming along quite nice, but I don't think the weather's going to hold up anytime soon, no, because it went from being really, really hot. Andre and I, for about 4 to 5 weeks, we were up here just baking. 4 to 5 weeks, pushing on 5 weeks. And then all of a sudden, it was like a flip where there's no happy medium in there because now it's getting kind of cold. Like my hands, I'm working all the time, right? So my hands are like cold, right? They get tingly and stuff like that depending on what I'm doing because now I'm working in cold and it's not even November yet, so I don't know. So we knew it was just an experiment anyway, right? So, but it would be nice to be able to rescue 2, 3 would be even better. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, like, the whole point of the exercise, right, is to learn how to grow tomato plants, I guess. Well, no, not really. It's more like microgreens. I have a choice. I can either just keep it simple and just focus on the micro greens and just work with the shelf that I have here, right? That's by a window that does get a bit of sun, so that's a bonus right there. But I have no place to put these tomato plants if I want to bring them inside, other than maybe take off a shelf and put them in the middle and kind of just string them in and let them just see what happens. And even then, I don't know where I'd put the light because, tomato plants are bushy, right? So, and I brought out Amari's, they call it a tomato chair, right? So he can cook with us. So it's right here. It's on wheels. So I'll be able to wheel him out, right? Help cook. I'll do little videos. I'll make him a little chef jacket with a hat. As if I got time to sew. But I really want to do it. I think it'd be so cute, right? With him with his spoon, eh? The little supervisor in the kitchen, Yeah, I'll get him to stir a pot. I'll put a pot down and stir the pot. And he can taste it too, right? Whatever it is that he's stirring up. So, right? That's what I plan on doing, people. How I'm going to do it, I'm not sure, but I'm like, okay, stay focused. Stay focused. Right? I don't know. I really want to bring in a couple of tomato plants because they're so beautiful out there right now. But with the weather just flipping the way it did, like there's no medium in there, right? Where it's not too hot and not too cold. It went from too hot to now becoming chilly, even though the sun is out. Now, mind you, a lot of it has to do with the house, but even still. So, and I mean, if I'm feeling it and it's getting chilly at night too, right? The tomato plants, they don't like that, eh? They really don't. That's why it was like, you know, it was a slim margin in terms of planting. Everything got in late, right? Just got in late. So I'm trying to think, like, where can I put these tomato plants? Where can I just set them up? Bring 2 or 3 of them in, just leave them alone, find a corner, but there's no place I can really put them. I could put them in maybe War Room 1 on the floor with a light hanging right over them. That's the only light they would get, though. It would be completely nothing but the artificial LED grow light. They would get no sun, nothing. So I don't know how happy they'd be. And that thing would have to be burning, I think, what, 18 hours? It's got to stay on for 18 hours. Right. So, but it is a possibility. I have, what is it? Silver reflector. Right. So I could just encase them. I'd have to just move a couple things, not too much. I could bring probably 3 of them in. And then just hang a light over them. Because I have like a rectangle kind. And it would only really probably require just the one light. Just hang it. And they probably do okay. Assuming that they can survive in a cubby, because it's kind of like a cubby in there, right? And then just keep, I'm having 2 or 3 racks here just for microgreens. Oops. See, I've got, right, the bread machine here, and, you know, one of my mixers, and these are bullets, and you know, this is stuff, this is the jars I just did, they're going downstairs, right? And just whatever, and then right from this shelf, right, it's a good height for Andre, microgreens, the next shelf for sure, oops, sorry, the next shelf for sure, microgreens, and then at the top, I don't necessarily have to put anything up there, I can just leave my bigger pots. Not the big ones, but the, you know, larger pots for soups and those kind of things. Whatever I got up there right now. So I'd run a grow light over that, a grow light over that. I plan on covering all this up with fabric, so I do have to cut and sew at least a little bit. I have 60 diaper pins, safety diaper pins, 60. So I could just cut it and fold it over and quickly just tack it on with, what is that called? Diaper pins, right? Because I want this all covered up to keep out of the dust, eh? Because I've got this down here. I've got my vent and it gets dusty. So, you know, it's still gonna come up through here. I just put this, anyway, I want the 2 lower shelves completely covered up with fabric to help protect things. And then I have to figure out, you know, some kind of tray, right, in terms of like a, you know, thin piece of wood, just to give it so nothing leaks, just in case, you never know, right? Because those ones would be just for microgreens, which would come in, you grow them in different kinds of ways, right? You can do jars, and you can do little contraptions, and you can do them on trays, and so yeah, that's, so maybe I'm glad, you know, I'm kind of glad I turned on the camera, because you know, I'm debating whether I should put tomato plants here or microgreens. Microgreens is the bigger lesson. You'll learn more with them, right? And plus, they're good for you. So if you can get into it, why not, right? So I got everything I need to get into it. I just don't know where to begin. In terms of the tomato plants, though, you know, I could just, for the sake of trying it, just to see if they'd even grow in a situation, because you'd know, like, within a couple of weeks. I mean, initially there's going to be a bit of shock, but after a couple of weeks, they're either going to grow or they're not going to grow, right? And I mean, how practical is it in terms of, well, you know, for the effort that you put into it, you could just simply go to the grocery store and buy $7 or $10 worth of tomatoes and be done with it, right? For what it's worth. But then on the other hand, you know, it just kind of falls in line with that learning process, right? You know, and sometimes you just have to work with what you have. So growing tomatoes in War Room 1, you know, under an emergency situation could be a good thing. So, right? And all we have to do is try it for a little while, and it goes into your hippocampus, and then you go to sleep. And then what happens is, whatever you learned about those tomatoes growing in that little cubby, it goes into your long-term memory. And then when you wake up in the morning, your hippocampus is ready to learn even more. So whatever Andre's learning over the next 6 months as we do this, you know, it will stay with him for a lifetime. He might not remember everything that we're doing, okay, but he will remember quite a bit. And if he ever had to do it just because, you know, we've got ghouls running the planet, then a fighting chance is better than no chance. So what better room than to grow tomatoes is in War Room 1. How about we just leave this video on that note, okay? So, look who came to visit. I'm debating what I should do with him. I really like him, but right now he's just guarding War Room 1, as you can see. Now, if I really wanted to, though, I could clear out this, which is just basically my floodlight, right? And then there's my what is that called? Oh, jeez. Obviously, I'm tired, right? Pressure canner, right? And then I got a computer underneath there that I need to get serviced. And just wipeout boards, right? But right here, for a temporary basis, for like a couple months, I don't want to do it for a couple months because they're only going to grow for a couple months. I don't know how long tomato plants grow. They don't live forever, though, that's for sure. Okay? And then I can just hang, I can just run the light right here. So, right? Just like that. I could do that, and I could put 3. 1, 2, 3. Right in here. I'm not using this room right now. And then this, because they're here. The lights are here. Sitting there doing nothing, wasting space. Lucy's box is in here. April's box and her little girl is on my table still. And then we've got Peggy's box over there with her books. Right? So anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna attempt to do this. Why not?